What's up everyone, Arctic here, and today I'm sure most of you guys have been waiting for this video, but I'm going to be talking extensively about Titanfall. And I played it at PAX. That was the most played game, other than Loadout, obviously, that I played at the show. And I talked about it on Frag Logic, episode 32, which I have linked down in the description. Actually, specifically that section of that show, if you guys care to listen there. But for the most part, the information that I have is and feelings towards the game are about the same. Now, getting right into it, I am still very, very excited for Titanfall. It will definitely be a must-have game for next-gen systems. It's Xbox One. I don't know if it's an exclusive. They haven't quite said, but it seems like it is an exclusive for Xbox and PC, if you want to kind of consider that an exclusive. But there has been no word on PlayStation, and from what I can tell, Respawn hasn't confirmed whether or not they're even developing the game now for PlayStation. Now, one thing that should be noted, if you're planning on keeping your Xbox 360 for a while and you want to get Titanfall, that is actually not being developed by Respawn. That's being developed by some other studio. I don't know if they've been named or not. And Respawn is supposed to be working very closely with this studio to make sure that it is comparable to the other one. I don't have my very high hopes for the gameplay there, but we'll see. Now, I played on a PC version of Titanfall. I don't know. I imagine it's an alpha level phase or something that is specifically built, a demo specifically built for the show. And we played with Xbox 360 controllers, which I thought was a little odd, considering I wanted to at least play with an Xbox One controller if they were going to not have mouse and keyboards available. So I think that kind of threw me off a little bit that they had the 360 controller there versus the X1 controller, which was literally at the Microsoft stations. All of the other ones, except for Titanfall, had Xbox One controller. So I was a little puzzled there on the reasoning behind that. Maybe they don't work that well with PC. I don't know. But that's certainly something that I think kind of raised some eyebrows, at least on my end, when I went to the booth. Now, talking about the game, giving you a general sense of the game, I feel like, and for those of you guys that played Battlefield 2142, I believe it was called, I was one of those guys, it was a futuristic form of Battlefield. And Respawn Entertainment are the same guys that basically made the Call of Duty that everyone fell in love with, Modern Warfare. Titanfall feels like Call of Duty 2142. And it's not necessarily bad. It doesn't feel like the same game per se, but there are definitely elements, mostly with the controls, that feel very familiar. Aiming down the sights, general movement, obviously sprinting, gun recoil, how the guns just kind of feel, for the most part, feel very Call of Duty-ish. When I played, there were 3 classes for infantry. There were also, I believe, 3 classes for the Titans. Now, the infantry, there was a close combat soldier who had like a shotgun and some type of pistol, and then he had an anti-Titan weapon, which was this big, huge bazooka. There was another like an SMG style player, I believe, that had like the SMG, a pistol, and some other anti-Titan weapon. I can't remember specifically what that was. And then the one I used the most was like an assault rifle class. So he had a standard assault rifle. You can make it comparable to like a what's a G35 or I don't know, whatever you want to say is a modern day rifle. It's basically comparable to that. It doesn't necessarily look like that, but that's what it's comparable to. It also had, I believe, a pistol, and then the anti-Titan weapon was like a sidewinder. It was 3 missiles that shot out in a spiral formation, and that's what you wanted to use if you were shooting as an infantry player against the Titans. The general gameplay for infantry combat feels, again, fantastic. The controls are dead on. As I mentioned, I played with a 360 controller on the PC. It was responsive, smooth, and I think it'll be a natural fit for most players because everyone is playing Call of Duty. So that transition will be very easy for those players to get into the infantry gameplay. The movement is where I think people will kind of go, whoa, this could throw me off a little bit. I'm not quite sure. And this is the reason I was so excited to play Titanfall, was because they were incorporating arena style shooter movement mechanics into a more tactical style military shooter that we're used to. And so you can do things like double jump, wall running, and these are all things that have been in arena shooters of past that are typically too difficult for your average player to pick up and be moderately good at or get kills at. So that was the reason I was so excited, and the movement in the game is very fluid. Think Mirror's Edge almost. There were times when I would see something, I'd run in right at it and be like, well, how can I get up here? And then I figure it out in a couple seconds, and it felt smooth. It felt natural. And there were so many different pathways I could take that it made it very diverse on how I could traverse the map with my infantry unit. So I'm very excited for the positional advantages that you could gain from movement. Now, where I was disappointed in movement, and both in the general gameplay, is that the movement, for the most part, didn't directly affect 1-versus-1 scenarios. The lethality of the game is such, at least from my personal opinion, on that specific build, is the lethality for infantry versus infantry gameplay feels very, if I see you first, you're going to die. So it's more like a Call of Duty or Battlefield than a Unreal Tournament or a Quake. So that, I think, was a little disappointing to me because, you know, there's not going to be a scenario where I am bouncing off walls and, someone can't hit me. It feels like if you have like an assault player, you could just spray in their general direction, and your tracking might not be very good, but if you at least get maybe a couple body shots, they might die. Now, again, that's on the build that I played. It could be different. There were times when I shot people in the body and it didn't feel as strong, so it'd be like pop, 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 and then they die, versus, like Call of Duty is bop, bop, you're dead. So that could be a variable of change. I'm sure they're probably thinking about how the lethality plays in part to the movement, because the movement, again, is so arena style and so out there for what I think a lot of the average consumer that's probably going to play this is used to, that it might they might just keep it as is. Headshots were one-hit kills from what I could tell. So if you're very accurate, you can be rewarded. Now, where 1v1s could be, again, if that guy is spraying at you and you actually are jumping at them and maneuvering at them and he can't hit you, and your tracking and aiming is so good that you can jump around, turn around, 360, pop somebody in the head, they're going to die, and then you're going to be like, oh, damn, I can't wait to get more of that. So that's where I think there's potential for there to be awesome plays in the game, people to be really excited about the movement. But for the most part, you're going to use movement to get a better positional advantage over your opponent. That's what I can tell so far. Now, Infantry vs. Titan gameplay was very sporadic for me, mostly because I think people were trying to figure out how to deal with them. The anti-Titan weapons didn't feel very strong to me. It didn't matter what I used, whether it was the one-shot rocket bazooka or the 3-shot Sidewinder, they both felt kind of against the mechs. It felt like if I was going to deal damage to a Titan, I needed to call my own Titan and then fight it that way. Now, with that being said, you can, with relative ease, get on top of a Titan, rip off the back, and then blow up the guts on it if you're an infantry unit. And that's pretty fast to do that. But there were certain attempts that I tried to do that, and if I wasn't dead on, sometimes it wouldn't latch on, and then I would get stomped on by the the mechs. But for the most part, in all the games I played, I absolutely mopped the floor with everyone that I played. And I kind of expected that at the show, because you got a lot of, first there's press there when I was playing. There was other exhibitors and devs there during my playtime. So it wasn't like I was playing in a controlled environment against top level players by any means. So I was completely, in this case, pub stomping at a show. Now for the Titans, I'd say that everything, in my opinion, is probably about as good as a mech game that I've ever played in terms of controls, how it feels, the movement, the abilities, all that stuff feels very good. There was 3 different mechs. I can't remember all of the different types. Most of them had like an ability, like in some of the trailers they've shown, where one of them is like where he puts up a field or energy field that catches all the bullets, and then you can shoot it back at. It's like a magnet or something like that. You shoot it back at the Titan. Another one had an electric smoke. So let's say in the scenario where an infantry guy jumps on your back, you pop this ability. It electrocutes them off your back, off your area where you're vulnerable, and it also provides a smoke screen so you can kind of get away. I don't remember what the other ability was, kind of slipping my mind. Again, the further I wait for these, the more, or the less I have, even with my notes, I can't really remember. So, each of the mechs also has a different ability. I imagine there will be more. You can probably mix and match different abilities to make your mech however you deem fit. I remember what the other ability was. The other one was a single rocket. So you had an additional rocket, for one of them. That was the ability. And I believe they were all activated via left bumper, if memory serves correct. In terms of weapons, one had a rocket. One was like an assault rifle, and one might have been a CQC type of Titan. But again, sketchy memory on that third one. The other 2 I know for sure are exactly what I just said: rockets and some type of rifle. Mech versus mech. If you are very accurate, you can take down mechs pretty fast. You do want to use rockets whenever possible, like your mech rockets. You also want to kind of do a lot of side dashing. It felt very much so like Hawken in terms of the amount of dashing that you're kind of doing behind cover. In this case, it'd be like big, huge buildings in order to maintain your health. Whenever I was in a Titan, it felt like God mode. And the only game that I did really well for my team, but it felt almost a little overwhelming, and we didn't really lose by a lot. The scores kind of tick up like Battlefield, in the sense that if you control the points, or Battlefield ticks down, Titanfall ticks up. So the scores were, for killing AI, for killing Titans, for killing enemy opponents, infantry, and you all get awarded different points based on how things are, I guess, scaled in their game. But for the most part, it felt very Hawkenish in terms of just dashing and moving around. So if you know the map, you're going to do well in a Titan. And if you're playing against a team that's calling in a whole lot of Titans, it's probably going to be pretty rough if you can't manage to get one in. The only other thing I think besides the movement that I wasn't a fan of, not the movement, necessarily the engagement, 1v1 infantry engagements, was the AI, the popcorn AI, which has been kind of controversial in a sense that they're basically awarding players that necessarily aren't very good, but they're giving them an opportunity to get kills, and they call them popcorn AI. The reason I was kind of concerned for it was exactly what I saw at the demo. The AI literally ran out, got into a pose, didn't shoot, and you killed them, and there you were awarded points based on basically killing the AI. And so that felt a little cheap. And maybe it's because of the hardcore nature of my general playstyle in gaming. Maybe it's because I'm just not used to that in that type of multiplayer environment. Whatever the case may be, I felt like the bots weren't doing anything contributing to the well-being of my team, and certainly not to the opposing team. They just felt pretty useless. Other than that, I think that I pretty much covered it all. There's a couple other things I can think of. One, when you're an infantry unit, you also have abilities. If I remember correctly, one of the abilities activated like a predator style camouflage, which basically made you maybe invisible to the enemy team. You might have been shown on radar. I wasn't sure, but that's the only one I really remember. And obviously all of the different mechs have abilities. So I think each class also has an ability, and you'll probably be able to mix and match those in and out. Think kind of like perks, maybe. I think that's where they were going with those, but I don't know how fleshed out they actually have that system yet. So if you guys have any questions about Titanfall, then this is basically all of the knowledge I have about the game. Please feel free to ask me. I will try to answer any questions that I can. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is about as detailed as I can provide. But until the next time, I will catch you guys later. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe for future videos on my channel, and make sure to click the annotated videos you guys see to watch some more Titanfall.